Bring the band in. Woo! Well, alright. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think, you know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the.
Well, I'll give this little cookie an hour before we're doing the no pants dance. Time to musk up.
Wow. Never ceases to amaze me. What cologne you gonna go with? London Gentleman or... Wait. No. Hold on. Blackbeard's Delight.
No. She gets a special cologne. It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries. Yep. It's made with bits of real panther. So you know it's good.
It's quite pungent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, it's a formidable scent. It stings the nostrils. In a good way.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
There you go, folks. Bleeding Edge style. Start to your day. How's it going out there, everyone, in great streaming lands? Welcome to the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. We're live May 12th, 2023, and going to be discussing the 1980s horror classic, or psychological thriller as it's known as, The Shining. That's right, people. The Shining. So we're going to be discussing this Jack Nicholson film that has, over the years has really, gotten a following. Because actually when it first was released, it wasn't a huge hit. A lot of people didn't like it, and it just wasn't considered a big financial, doer. I mean, it still did pretty good on the budget that it was, made with, but at the same time, though, like with the critics and everything, it wasn't really a huge winner. But as time has gone on, it's definitely created a cult following and has really become very popular among horror fans. And the Rotten Tomato score has risen quite a bit over the years. Actually, within the last couple, I would say last 10, 15 years, it is settled at 82% rotten fresh, so I think that's pretty decent. So, like I said, this came out in 1980, directed, of course, by Stanley Kubrick, who we all know has done a whole bunch of films over the years, from Strangelove, thank you. How to Make a Love to a Bomb type of film, and from Eyes Wide Shut and all those kind of things, 2001 and. Clockwork Orange and all that kind of good stuff. He's a really solid director. And I feel this is kind of like one of those films that he didn't get enough recognition for how well he did with this film. Because it really was an innovative film, because it was one of the first films that came out around that time that actually used a Steadicam to film a lot of its scenes. So I think that is a really cool little tidbit for you there, guys. So most definitely. So let's go around the panel real quick and just get everyone's ideas on, if you can remember back to the first time you watched this, what were your thoughts going into seeing this film? Did you have any expectations, and were you expecting it to be as good as it was for you? Starting with you, Andres.
Sure. So this, I think, 16 or 15 years ago, I got introduced with this film. I was just, looking around YouTube. Then I saw The Shining, and then I was like, oh, because Jack Nicholson, you saw it, and it's like, oh, the Joker from '89. So I did that. I saw the whole film in parts, and my first expression of it was very weird, very slow, but over time, I couldn't forget about it, and this latest watching has to be my third of The Shining, and it still gets better. This recent watch was fully like, oh my god, yeah, this is the great Kubrick film, So this film is dear to my heart. It's the first movie that got me into Stanley Kubrick as a director, and so it's my fourth favorite in the Kubrick films. After 2001 and Doctor Strangelove and Clockwork Orange. So yeah, that's my experience with Shining.
Thank you, sir. Great. Awesome. Jeff, your thoughts, sir, on your first watching of this film?
Well, I experience The Shining every day of my life when I try to find my extremely tiny penis. Just because I use a flashlight. I use like one of those huge flashlights to try to like find it with the magnifying glass. So like, I call that's my own personal Shining every day. I gotta find it, here and there, make sure it's still there. But other than that, though, no, I don't know, man. The first time I watched this when I was probably like fucking 8 or 9 years old, I think. Right? I didn't even know what to make of it. I didn't know what the fuck it was. Back in the day, in the 80s or whatever, early 90s and shit, my parents never told me I could watch. My dad never told me I could watch his movies, like his VHS stuff he would record or whatnot. He was never like, Jeff, you can't watch this because there's fucking nudity in it or whatever. So I just watched the shit. I watched it Basic Instinct when I was like 10. Like, what up, kid? What up, Sharon? Let's do it. Right? Saw my first vagina. Very nice. Right? Appreciated that. Thank you again, Sharon, for that. Appreciate you. Wish you were The Shining. But no, I didn't know what the hell to think. Again, that's the thing. Like, it's so cool that I thought about this earlier watching it. Back in the day, there was no internet. I didn't know what things were. All I knew was my dad recorded it, right? The title seemed interesting, and I figured if my dad fucking recorded it, it's probably dope, right? Because I like usually most of the stuff I find in these movies, these tapes. Why not watch this one? So, like, did it scare the shit out of me? I didn't know what to think of it. I knew it was horror, like scary, but I watched it like probably a couple times when I was probably like 12 or 13, 14 years old. And I remember just probably in my own way, from a horror standpoint, maybe for the first time really grasping at that age, very, very slightly, the intellectual aspect or the depth of horror that was possible. I didn't realize that at that point. I didn't know that horror films, Hellraiser, Jason, stuff like that, didn't have stuff like that, right? Freddy Krueger didn't have shit like that, depth like that. I didn't grasp it really. I couldn't understand it, but I knew that the stuff was haunting. It was really scary, like mentally, and I could tell, and it bothered me. It did kind of screw me up a little bit, like when I would watch it.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird to connect like that, man. It really is to watch a film for that long. I haven't watched it since I was probably 14. I'm 40, so holy shit, man. To watch it now and think back, like holy crap. I understand so much more about what was going on than then. It's very interesting.
Yep, true that. Thank you, sir. All right, so of course this stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, Scatman Crothers are pretty much kind of your basic mainstays in this film. And, of course, I think that Danny Lloyd doesn't get enough credit for how good he was in this film. He was really, really amazing at 7 years old making this film. And he did a really fantastic job just rewatching it, because it's been a few years since last time I watched it. And I thought that, I kept forgetting how good he was at his character. And I just remember thinking, wow, this kid is a really good actor. I'm surprised he didn't go on to do more stuff. And I just think that he should get a little more recognition for how good he was in this film. And this was just a really well done film, I thought. It's really fun. I think it's a treasured film that has a lot of great characterizations to it, a lot of great thought and, filmness put into it. Of course, it doesn't follow the books very closely. As Stephen King, he was not very happy with it when it first came out. Over the years, he has changed his tune a little bit about it. He's not as evil at it as he was when it first came out. But he definitely was not a fan of what they did, because they did change the character of Jack Torrance quite a bit, and Danny, and some of the ghosts and stuff like that. They had in the book versus what they did in the film. They definitely made it more cinematic versus how the book is portrayed. Now, this film was made for $19 million back in 1979. It was filmed in 79, released in 80, May 23rd of 1980, actually.
How much that, bro?
It was made for $19 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money for back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it ended up taking in $47.3 million at the box office when it came out in 1980. Now, when it got released, it's kind of funny. They actually had 3 different runtimes for this film when they released it initially in 1980. Now, when they released it foreign, it was 146 minutes at its premiere. When it got released in the United States, it was 144 minutes. They had cut out 2 minutes of it. Then when they released it over in Europe, it was cut down to 119 minutes. So, I mean, there's 3 different versions of this film. Initially, Kubrick cut about 7 minutes of film out of it when he initially put it out to the United States. And so there's technically almost a 3-hour-long version of this film. But it's still, I mean, I think the regular cut that we have, I think, was a perfect length. And there was so much build-up and so much tension in the film that made it very interesting. And also, I think one of the things about this film is that how they kept cutting the cue cards throughout this film, giving you like, oh, it's Monday, it's Wednesday, it's, been a month now, and stuff like that was kind of an interesting take on this film as well. Now, this was filmed primarily on location, on one lot that they did, but they did go out to a few other locations to film a little bit of it. But, I think that the location they decided to go with was just a fantastic, beautiful area. It looked amazing. And the 4K definition of this film is pretty decent, I think. I think they did a good job of restoring it. Even though it's, 43 years old, it looks still pretty pristine in 4K. And I think it's still holding up to the test of time. And I think even, another 20, 30 years from now, it's still going to look pretty good. So this was written by Kubrick and by a woman that went by the name of Diane Johnson. She actually was a novelist. She wrote novels and stuff like that. And she actually came on to help write the script for this film because she was a big fan of the book. She also had another one of her actual books turned into a movie back in 2007, around that area, with a film that she had written, and it got put into a film, which I thought was kind of interesting. All right, so basically how this movie goes, it starts off really interesting. Basically, we get the screen titles, shows us all the different people's names, and then we get kind of great aerial view of the area they're going to. And we get this really eerie music. And that's what I want to ask everyone. What did you think of that intro music, that theme music? Did you like it? Did you think it was perfect for the intro? What did you think about that intro music? Because that intro music, to me, I think was really awesome and fun. I thought it was a really good way to kind of ease into this film's, theme. Starting with you, Andres.
Yeah. So, it's very good, Cyber, that you brought up the music. This music is from Wendy Carlos. Now, we brought up Clockwork Orange. She composed the Clockwork Orange, which is a great soundtrack if you've seen the movie Clockwork Orange. And for The Shining, this is top music. I think the intro music that the composer and throughout the movie is very iconic. I mean, it sets you the mood of dreadiness and eeriness of the supernatural, and without really seeing them yet. And so it's just that intro music that sets you up what's gonna come later in The Shining. But yeah, because a couple of times Kubrick doesn't use scores in his films, or he usually use licensed musical notes or licensed music, something like Shining, Singing in the Rain or something like that. But with the score, this is very good. I think this intro just gets you into the mood of The Shining, with its dark and eeriness that we're going to get into in the next 2 hours of this film.
Excellent, thank you. Jeff, your thoughts on the intro music, theme music?
Oh shit! For a minute there, I thought I misunderstood Andre. I thought he was going to say. He said he was going to talk for 2 hours straight about the film.
No.
The next time he asked the question, I'm messing with you, Andre. It's an inside joke between me and Cyber. Cyber, you like that, bro? You like that shit, bro? I told you I was gonna get his ass tonight. I told you. Well, here I did it. Andre's, I'm messing with you, dude. It's all about love, bro. That's Cyber. It's all about love.
Hey,
All right,
shiny.
it's okay. We don't mind if you talk for just only talk for 1.75 hours, not 2. Okay, please.
Or 4 hours.
1.75. That's all you can do.
Right.
Right? No, but you can't fanboy out for The Shining. It's too fucking depressing and scary.
Oh, okay. I see what you got. I was checking your chat. I was like, oh, let me get the trailer.
We joke. Cyber were joking earlier about how you respond questions for like 47 minutes long and shit and whatnot.
It's, if you want the cool information.
It's a joke, man. Shut up, bro.
Cool information. Oh, just go, Jeff.
Folks, is this funny? Seriously.
Oh my God, Jeff, go.
Fanboy.
It's just funny because I told Cyber earlier I was gonna fuck with you about it and whatnot, so I did.
Good, because I know the Overlook Hotel. I have the spirits.
Hey, listen. It's nice to see a man that's got thick skin these days.
Whoa.
Yeah, that shows a lot of depth, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like some shiny level shit.
All right, Jeff. So, what did you think of the intro music, sir? The theme music at the beginning of this movie.
By the way, that's going to be a great promo clip for after the show. But anyways, the music, it was fucking great. I mean, it wasn't anything that like, I don't know. Audrey, I got the trailer, bro. Okay. No, but thank you though. Unless you got a different one. But no, I mean, honestly, it's good, but it's not like other films, even from that genre, that time, where the music is like for instance, the Godfather. Andre's what I'm talking about, right? The Godfather music, right? It at times almost can be, it's loud. It'll be louder, but it's so good that like it's powerful. It takes over the scene almost, right? Like in a way. And the music in The Shining isn't like that. It accompanies the scenes, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It ties in very well. It's good music. It's good, the score, but it's not anything that like, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't blow me away. At least me.
No.
Yes, I get what you mean. Yeah, most definitely.
At least me. There's sometimes there's scenes where I don't even notice it that much. But maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that it was a really cool sound. I thought it was very airy. It was perfect kind of choice for them beginning the film. And I've always been a huge fan of like that techno synth riff type of music. So just really was, I thought, really well done. Because I had forgotten that's how the movie began. So I was kind of like, ooh, this is cool. This is like, and so much fun. Anyways, all right. So like I said, that's the beginning. And then basically we're introduced to Jack for the first time. He's there at the hotel or motel, whatever you want to call it, to basically have an interview for a job. And we kind of are introduced to him and introduced to the people that he's interviewing with to get this position that will be a 5-month position and basically caretaking this hotel. Then we're briefly shown Shelley Duvall and Danny Lloyd at their home that they're at before they go to the lodge. And basically they kind of have like a brief breakfast conversation. And then we end up, basically, we have an incident where Danny falls asleep and sees some images that we'll end up seeing later on in the film at the lodge. And so then Shelley Duvall has a doctor look at him, and they basically have like a brief little conversation, about like how Danny's doing and like has he, how does he see certain things and stuff like that, and basically that he's had this imaginary friend that's in his mouth and all this kind of stuff, and basically leave it at it's just a being a little boy type of thing. So then after we see that section, we end up going back to Jack at the lodge and him doing his interview. And at that time, basically the owner tells him about the story that happened, 10 years prior with a caretaker that ended up, killing his family and killing himself there. And, kind of giving you an idea of, like, there's a murder that happened at this lodge and, kind of setting up, like, oh, there's going to be a ghost story going on here, I feel. And so we have kind of that introduction to all the characters, kind of getting them ready to go to the lodge. So what were your guys' thoughts on that beginning intro, the being introduced to Jack, being introduced to Wendy, being introduced to Danny, and kind of those little side characters, and how did you feel about it? What did you like about it? And was there anything you noticed that you found that really pronounces, that really stands out for you in that opening sequence? Starting with you, Andreas.
Sure. Just how Jack is very worst father ever. I mean, like, who in the right mind will take a job and not realize the implication that you're gonna go mad sometime in this job. So right away you see how just very jerk and very selfish he really is, and not really thinking through this situation that the manager told him about, the Grady, which we're going to see him later, and of course his twin daughters in the hallway scene, which is iconic. Because this, I don't know if we want to compare the book, but of course in the book, Jack is a more like noble person who is like a very like character that struggles alcoholism, and that's what Stevie King went through. And here, with Jack Nicholson, the Kubrick version of Jack Torrance is this very dark, selfish character that has demons, and he gets easily consumed by this hotel. And just last thing, it's funny. The Grady story that we get, Cyber, you brought out how like, oh, maybe this could be a ghost story. No, it actually, it just tells you right about that this is the movie you're going to see. You're going to see him use an axe. You're going to kill his family. That's it. And now, the difference is this family get away from that, but it kind of gives you hints that this is going to happen to Jack throughout the movie, and he, conveniently used the axe just like Mr. O'Grady, what he did to his family, and so. So this scene was very important, and Danny and the wife, I think it shows you how, they're very close to each other as a family, and that the way Kubrick used how to communicate the shining powers that Danny displays is very unique, and so it's kind of cool. That like right away we're seeing the images that we're going to see later in the film, so to show that okay, he's actually predicting the future of what's going to happen to him and his family. So, and you don't know that yet until you get these repeats of the images that Danny always gets. So but I think these introductions are very neat and very good.
Excellent, thank you. Jeff, same question.
I'm sorry, Cyber. I apologize. I got thrown off because I was looking at the article. Were you talking about the first stage of the movie you described?
The first section leading up to before they move into the lodge.
One of the things that I think that for me, I really like to, I guess, just to try to bounce off Andres in a different way and focus on something else. For me, that I think that right off the bat set it up for me, especially now that I'm older again, is that the way that it sets up where for one thing, in the beginning, they're around people, right? You see them in public, you see them with other people and whatnot, right? Yeah. And I think that's interesting. I think that was purposeful by Kubrick. He wanted the movie to start with them around others in a world where like they were around other people and they had a structured life and went to appointments and, all that, whatever. And then that gave more contrast, or like it made it, kind of like sort of paralleled and added more to like the whole idea of what it would be like to live in that fucking lodge, man. Like they're talking about in this thing, in this article, which I only pulled up just to show like the size of it. That's all, because it's in there, that how big it is and whatnot. It's in Colorado, of course. I didn't know that. I actually thought it was in upstate New York for some reason.
Yeah.
No. The fact that it was written where they decided to go ahead and use the African American gentleman. I forgot the name of the actor. What is his character's name?
It was the actor's name is Scatman Crothers.
Okay, so Scatman. So Scatman uses The Shining, the word The Shining, right? Not from jump, but like in that first section you talked about.
Nope, I haven't gotten to that yet.
No? Okay, all right. Okay, my bad. So I apologize. I'll save that. But no. What I think is really cool, and I think that you kind of notice more as the movie goes on, is that just more heavily it becomes more concentrated again in terms of pace and like change of film and like change of dynamics and whatnot that add to different elements of the film and the build up towards the end. Is the fact that as part of the isolation, the only other secondary characters that you then have later on are very few live people, and then all people who aren't real, right? Or are like spirits or fucking like ghosts or whatever they are, right? And everything and all that, and that's a really interesting like difference, contrast. I mean, seriously, to go from like a world where there's tangible people to one where you're talking to fucking people who don't even exist. That's insane, and he is insane, right? So, I mean, I'll be honest, like it's not just that he's like staying at this crazy ass hotel. He's insane eventually. By one point, I think almost psychotic, like he loses it. But the hotel itself, you didn't go that far, right? As far as us seeing it.
No.
I went to, like I said, I went up to before they actually go to the lodge and officially move in.
I think it's interesting that they don't ever think about or mention at all that, like Andres is saying, hey, we're going to this freaking place where it's out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado in the mountains, and nobody's going to be there but us for like a really long stretch of time. Maybe this might be a little bit possibly isolating, or like, well, our kid's already fucked up. We don't, and stuff and whatnot, right? Like, this might not be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even though they don't know that he's all shined up and shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't good, but it's all right, whatever. It works out. And I like the fact that, I love seeing the contrast of Jack Nicholson play his character from beginning to end. Just watching him devolve. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, fucking lose it and like, go into almost this different world. Become a different person almost. Yeah. It's cool. The intro is cool because it's so great, the contrast towards the end in the middle.
Yeah. I agree.
Excellent, sir. Thank you. All right. So, Jack Nicholson is just freaking phenomenal in this film. I absolutely loved him in this film.
What, are you kidding me?
So good. Yeah. He was just amazing, and, he was the best choice, I feel, for playing Jack Torrance in this film.
Who's Jack Nicholson, Cyber?
Well, if you don't know who Jack Nicholson is, you need help.
I'm just kidding, but you know what, though, dude? I guarantee right now, if you ask my daughter or my son who Jack Nicholson is, neither one of them would know.
Cool.
Generational thing, yep.
Yeah.
And anyway, so like I said, I think Jack Nicholson was amazing for this film. He was just really awesome. But basically, moving on. So after that great intro that we just talked about, basically after Jack gets the go-ahead that he got the job, he brings his family there. We see a nice little kind of like road trip, and they basically get there, and then they take a tour of the grounds. That's when Scatman Crothers comes in, and we're introduced to him. And basically he takes Wendy and Danny around for a tour while Jack is with the other two guys taking a tour with them. And so as he's taking them around, that's when Danny starts having visions, basically. He starts seeing things that aren't there. We see the twins for the first time.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, they're the twin girls. They're in the blue dresses and like that. We see them. At one point when Scatman Crothers is explaining the pantry to Wendy, he sees him and he starts hearing, you know, Scatman Crothers say something else to him that he's not saying. So, you know, kind of giving you that eerie feeling and stuff like that. Then basically they end up returning to with the other group, and then Scatman's like, "Oh, can I take Danny to get some ice cream?" And they're like, "Okay, sure, go." You know, so then that's when Scatman takes him aside and then explains to him about The Shining and how he had The Shining with his mother. And basically they kind of have a conversation. That's where Danny kind of says, you know, he has this person in his mouth. What's the character's name again? Was it Tommy? Tony. Yeah. He has Tony in his mouth, and Tony doesn't like him to talk about that he has the shining ability. And, you know, that, you know, Scatman Crothers basically tells him, you know, that's, you know, there's few people that have this ability, but they're never afraid to talk about that and stuff like that and do that kind of thing. And that, you know, you should be thankful you have this ability and that we have this kind of camaraderie, you know, with this, and that there's nothing wrong with it. And that's when
Cyber. So I was watching the movie earlier with my friend Michelle when that happened. I'm sorry, brother. Instead of like before the kid could speak, I said She-Hulk.
Okay. Okay, She-Hulk. Anyways, so basically that's when Danny, you know, says, "What about what's in?" There's supposedly evil in 237. And, you know, Scatman Crothers says, "No, there's nothing in there. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just don't go in there. You don't need to go in there. Nobody needs to go in there. That's off limits, you know. But there's nothing bad in there," he says, you know. And they kind of leave it at that. Another thing about 237, room 237, is that was changed from the book. In the book, it's actually 217. So that was something else that they creatively changed for the film. And so basically after that, you know, basically, like, up to a certain point, we kind of just get a whole bunch of montage of different things they're doing at the hotel, at the lodge, of them doing things. We see Shelley Duvall's character, Wendy, cooking. She makes breakfast for Jack at one morning, and he wakes up to the nice breakfast. We see that her and Tanny outside playing, and basically that's when we kind of get these title card changes. We see one that, you know, says 1 month later. We see one that says Wednesday. One says Tuesday or something like that. And basically you know, it kind of goes and we have these like little montage sequences, basically up to kind of like when Danny has like kind of one of his really first big kind of like sightseeings, I feel, of the twins and stuff like that. We see him go, you know, riding down the hallways on his little trike bike, and he ends up coming in contact with the twins again, and they're like very airy and evil looking and stuff like that. And basically it leads up to you know, just some more imagery of different crazy things going on in the hotel. So before we go past kind of that section there, we get to that kind of main point before Wendy and Jack have that conversation where he kind of starts, you can start seeing that he's starting to go crazy. What were your thoughts on that sequence of the film? Kind of that montage, the introduction to the characters, to the lodge, and what was your whole thoughts on that? Because myself personally, I found it kind of very scatterbrained throughout the whole section. It was kind of like shoot, cut, a lot of like cut and paste, I feel. And I think that was kind of a one of Kubrick's kind of like things that he did. That's just how he cut the film, and like he would shoot things and stuff like that. And I think that was kind of a stylized choice, and it wasn't horrible, but at the same time I feel like it kind of makes the film a little choppy at the same time, but still an interesting choice, I feel. So what are your guys' thoughts on all that leading up to kind of our first kind of introduction to Jack starting to lose his mind? Starting with you, Andreas.
Sure. Yeah, I'm the king, baby. Anyway, Here's Andreas. Sorry, Cyber. Jeff's
King.
reaction was funny.
King.
No, yeah, the king of uh, Chicago. Anyway, sorry, folks.
King of Chicago. Okay.
I'm being the Joker today, folks.
Where's your makeup, then, bitch?
I have my makeup. It's just like Jack Nicholson. He like covered it in the Batman '89 film. Yeah. So this sequence is pretty cool. I mean, this is the most iconic scenes. I mean, in the film. I mean, everything is iconic, but the Matrons in the lodge is. I think Kubrick always wants you to pay attention to those scenes, like like this time around. I know it's more of the Indian like like burial grounds and like how that it's like involved in the story of the Shiny, and history. How the hotel is under this like India burial ground that they took over, and so like it adds another mystique to the film. Like if these spirits are from these dead Indians, maybe and Cooper always tries to make these films like they are like in our world. So with the choppy editing, you see these, our characters, Wendy and Jack talking to the manager and all that. It's kind of like, okay, here's this, getting to the like, the kitchen, the office space that Jack is going to write, and then the maze we see briefly. That's going to be a big set. Like very cool visual, like quick snapshots of okay, here's are the locations that are going to be important in the film, particularly the bedroom that the family are going to be living in. Yeah, and then Danny, of course, seeing the twins right away, I kind of surprised that, but it shows because this is something that a lot of people don't know about. Because in the book, the reason that these like spirits come after Danny is because they want his power, because the shiny increase the hotel's like has a abilities and grow stronger by minute, and so they want Danny. So here it's different. It's showing that the spirits feel Danny's shining abilities right away. So that's why he's having this very, because he's so young. He doesn't know how to control it like Mr. Holloway, Scatman's character. Um, but that was one I was surprised to saw was him communicating. I totally did not get. I missed that part where he's talking to Wendy in the pantry, and then I caught this time of him saying, "Hey, do you want ice cream, Doc?" And I was like, "Oh wow!" So he communicated him telepathically. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, him talking to the kid is very iconic. It's one of the best expositions of explaining a power, which is cool. And because sometimes it could be boring or just like okay, get like skip to the end, but it was very fascinating how Scatman explains the Shining to Danny, and then of course Danny, you know, uh, brought up, the room 237 that adds another layer of mystique and like okay, what's wrong with 237? Why we cannot go there? It just Kubrick sets up another terrifying, maybe thing, just like the twins we're seeing right now. But yeah, and then just wrapping up, the month later. Like I love that after Scatman finishes line, we cut to month later. I was like, wow, they're already in the hotel a month later, and yeah, and here a lot of people don't know this, but like Jack starts to become lazy. He doesn't like do the whole work of the hotel. It's actually his wife is doing that. So already he's like gonna be consumed by the spirits. So yeah, he's a dead man by this point. And yeah, yeah. Overall, I think the sequence does a good job of setting up the like get you into mood into the horror of The Shining in the next few minutes, and the half hour mark.
What about the horror of this shit? Yeah,
No.
that's right. That's right. That's right. That's fucking. That shit's rough.
Can we use Batman?
Talk
Why
about
is
The
she-
Shining.
Why is she also
Excellent.
The Shining? Oh my god.
Awesome, Andres. Thank you. Excellent, sir. Yeah, most definitely. Jeff, same question, sir. And this is the part with the caretaker, so you can talk about that more if you like.
I believe that you make a good point. Although earlier, Cyber, about the choppiness of maybe the way that it was edited or cut in terms of what they shot and decided to put into that one part of the sort of part of the film. I felt like it just kind of stalled things. It didn't really accomplish anything, right? Like it didn't really connect anything heavily. Not I don't want to say filler, but like sort of maybe a bad attempt to try to at some. I'm sure probably in Cooper's mind, he saw it as part of like the progression or like the pace and overall scope of the film. He in some way felt like that was important, probably. Like in some way that was supposed to be a part of it, and it just didn't play. You know what I mean? It didn't come together. Maybe that's why it got so choppy, Cyber, right? Like they just, couldn't figure out how to get, what the most out of it or something. But either way though, it's not like bad. And I find that the image of the hotel, although it is like large in scope for only having 149 rooms or whatever, it looks big, but it feels bigger without even looking at it. That later on in the film, it just feels bigger, and it looks imposing, but not to the level where it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It looks normal. It doesn't look flashy. It's very boring. It's maintained. You can tell it's not like weathered. It looks it's weird. Like in a way almost, right? Like they're going to be there for what, 6 months? They shut down during that season or whatever. Or they don't have guests during the winter.
Nope.
Or whatever. And it's that pristine all the time. Like I don't know. It seems strange to me. But I feel like it's really not a problem or anything whatnot, but interesting to me that they never really fully, I don't believe, explain or really give us a straight dope kind of like read on like what Danny's powers are, like what they really are about, right? Like he can read minds, I think, right? And he can telepathically do stuff but he's not good at it. He's not like experienced, but he can be telepathic.
Yeah.
He's not at the level of Crawdaddy, whatever the fuck. I'm sorry, the actor. The cook. Either way. So no, he's not at his level probably with The Shining, with his abilities. Dick Halloran, I'm sorry. So they shared The Shining, and what I was wondering earlier, Cyber, was when you were talking about the whole thing with him telling Danny, "Don't go in that room," but like it's all good in there. That didn't really make any sense. If with a kid, isn't it normal for children if you say something like that, they're gonna go in? Isn't that like?
Yep.
Yeah. Like that. It's almost a setup in a way, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, is that purposeful? Is that what?
Most definitely.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a trap.
Well, no. It was more of like a scare for Danny to not go because
Wait. No. I'm saying Andres. Any child, it's like basic common sense. If you tell them that, don't go in there, but it's dope as fuck in there.
Yeah. Well, he goes past their first time, and he tries to open the door, but it's locked. And then the second time,
don't go that far. I'm simply saying the concept itself might be a trap to me. I never really thought about it until we watched it tonight, but it seems like it might. I'm not sure. Like he might. Maybe he's. I don't know, but it seems like he's setting them up to get fucked up, like to get caught up. To me, which is strange. But either way, I think that beyond sort of, I guess the stuff you did mention with kind of maybe the spottiness or slowness of things, I do like the main characters. um, uh, uh, you know, um, Jack's wife. I forget the name of the actress, but I'll look her up real quick.
Um, uh, Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall is really good, right? She's great. I think good actress. Always thought she was, and she's great in this part. And it's really cool to see her, like, even though things are fractured and kind of like a little bit tense between her and Jack because of his alcoholism, and whatnot, and everything, and like him hurting Danny, and you can tell that they've been, had some strife. She seems like she really is actually into the relationship and like motivated to try to like make it work and everything and whatnot. Like, she's really a good woman, a decent wife. And it's interesting watching her devolve, right? Like, due to multiple, factors throughout the film, but start kind of where she's at, right? Because what is Jack? He at one point he calls her unsupportive. In the beginning of the movie, right, and we're talking about, she's very supportive. She tries, to try to like, be listen to him and whatnot and support him. And then he just sort of takes it out on her, his own frustrations. But no, it's the only thing I can say though about that child actor is that something about the way he looks physically or whatever, it's fucking weird a little bit. I don't know, like. He's got this weird looking expression on his face sometimes. I'm just like, what?
I mean,
What about his expression is weird? Is
I don't know. Like when he does his little like staring deals, what and everything, where he's like shining out and shit, all that.
I mean, that's the Kubrick stare. Come on, dude.
He looks like he's maybe like in the Special Olympics or something.
Weird. All right. Excellent, guys. Awesome. Really, really awesome. So as we've determined now, Jeff thinks that the voice expressions are crazy. And he thinks Shelley Duvall was fantastic in this film. And for all those that don't know this, during the filming of this film, Kubrick kept Shelley Duvall really scared throughout this whole film, actually causing her to actually break down several times while filming this film. So a lot of the terror you see on her face is actually real throughout this film. So, yeah, sometimes Kubrick had some crazy ways of getting certain reactions out of his actors, so that wasn't very uncommon during that time frame. But yeah, I thought that was kind of showed Shelley Duvall's characteristics, and character of the type of person she is, probably because, having to deal with that shit. But anyways, so once we get to kind of I would say it's the middle of the film. It's about, I would say, an hour and like 15-minute mark, I feel.
Yeah.
This is kind of when we start to see Jack start to lose it. Basically, we have him. He's in the big hall, whatever you want to call it, and he's typing on his typewriter, supposedly hard at work, making his new novel, whatever it is. And Wendy comes down, and basically to tell him something, and basically he ends up biting her head off. And it starts acting, really just like drastically like a dick. And so basically from there, he's really mean to her, and like you could see on her face, like, why is he talking to me like this? All I did was come to say hi. Like what the fuck's up with that? And so she, like, of course, she, after he says his piece, she walks away and leaves him. And basically that's when we kind of do some more montage type of walks, and we get a brief kind of like part where they're sitting kind of in the middle of the in one of the rooms, whatever, and they're watching TV. Danny's on the floor, and Wendy's up on the couch, and they're watching TV, and he asks if he can go get his fire truck, basically. And she's like, at first, Shelley's like, I don't think that'd be a good idea because Daddy's sleeping and stuff like that. And, that wouldn't, I don't think would be very pertinent. And so he basically, Danny, like, keeps talking about it and gets his mom to say okay. So he ends up doing that, and that's when we have this like kind of weird scene with Jack and Danny, and he's like sitting in the bed, wide awake, but just staring off into nothingness. And he walks in and he looks over and he sees Dad sitting like that, and he basically says, "Oh, can I get my fire truck?" And Jack Nicholson kind of turns his head and he goes, "Come here." And he comes over and he picks him up and sits him down and like starts telling him how much he loves him and all this kind of stuff. And Danny keeps kind of asking him little questions, and they have kind of this weird, awkward moment, like what's going on with Jack here? Like there's something not right. And even though he's like being nice and everything, it's kind of like a creepy nice almost. And we have kind of that sequence. And at some point here, we see during that, Shelley Duvall goes and is like checking out the phone lines, noticing they're not working. So she uses the radio to basically, ask about the phone lines. And she has a brief conversation with police people. And, saying, oh, we got to use this from now on, blah, blah, okay. That's cool. And so after that, like I said, we go through a little bit of more montage, and basically we get to a point where Danny goes into the room, goes into 237. He finally decides to go in there, because we saw him, throughout the other montage kind of checking it out, thinking about doing it, but not really doing anything about it. And so finally he actually goes in, and that's when he sees this woman in there, and basically the woman starts to try to strangle him. And so that's when Shelley Duvall sees that what's happening and gets him, and runs down to tell Jack about it. And basically she thinks that Jack has beaten their son again. And like, cause he comes running in, he's like all scared and frightened. He's got like marks on his face and stuff like that. And so she automatically blames, Jack for it, and that he like hurt their son again. And she gets all scared and starts to run away. And then that's after that, and like Jack kind of is like, what the fuck, And that's when he starts to really go off into a kind of craziness. And we see him, he goes to the bar, and he starts to imagine that there's a barkeeper there and all the liquor's back, and he starts drinking. And I think this is one of my favorite scenes of the film, because that dialogue he has with the bartender is absolutely on point. And the story he tells about what happened that one time accidentally 3 years prior. And, it's been 3 years and all this kind of good stuff. And, oh man, it's such a well-constructed sequence. And basically he ends up doing that, and that's when Shelley Duvall comes running back in, finds him, and basically says, "Oh, I'm sorry that it wasn't you, it was some strange person in here that was trying to strangle our son." And he basically turns his head and is like, he kind of like he wants, and he's like, "What the fuck are you on?" like type of thing. And and so then he goes searching. And then that's when he ends up going to room 237, and we have our little nudity scene in this film. We see this, I think she was a model. I think that's who she was. But we see this like younger woman that's a model or whatever sort, and gets out of the bathtub, and he's like just standing there kind of watching, and he walks over to her, and they start to kiss. And the next thing we know, all of a sudden she's an old decaying lady. And we get our younger and older nude ladies, and he starts to kind of back up and kind of frightened at it and leaves the room. And so then it kind of goes back to Shelley Duvall, and she's kind of running around and stuff like that, looking and stuff like that, and trying to figure out things and stuff like that as well. And basically that's kind of where it starts to lead towards the kind of the end of the film. So before we move on past that, I actually jerked off to that chick when she got all nasty. I like the old crazy ass shit. You would, Jeff. You would.
God.
You would. So anyways, folks. So basically that section of the film, guys. What were your thoughts on that section of the film? What did you think about that sequence where Jack has that kind of conversation with the bartender, and what was your overall thoughts on that portion of the film? Starting with you, Andreas.
Sure. this is my favorite part of the movie. Is seeing the deranged Jack Nicholson, aka Jack Torrance, to be the killer that we're gonna get throughout the final part of The Shining. So, I mean, Kubrick is such a genius here. First off, we didn't mention when, like when we see Wendy and Danny like playing on the snow, and then we got that shot of Jack just standing there in the hole where he's doing his typing. He's just standing there and it's like um staring at the review for the first time before he does it again in the bed, as you mentioned, Saber. So like already his mind was just going deep waters of madness already. Um, yeah, that scene when he's talking to his son is so creepy. Like it's the most awkward father and son this conversation that I ever seen in a film. And Kubrick just does it so well. I mean, it just shows how Jack is just going downhill, like minute to minute of madness by the hotel or the evil spirits or whatnot. That's one thing I want to bring up. Like there is evil spirits, and it's always left ambiguously in the film, like either not they're real or not. But they are evil spirits, and the way they're how they are presented here are very like dreamlike or like they're in our reality. But it's like one moment it's like they're there, but then one moment they're not. Like the
Andres,
bar.
they're capable of it at times being able to physically touch things and actually, right? That's
Yes,
all I'm saying.
yes.
Yes.
There's the was it the butler you know no, the butler opened the door. That's an iconic scene. No worry. Anyway, iconic scenes. But yeah. So and then this is where we see like Danny's powers gonna like manifest slowly. We didn't talk about when he actually first meet the twins in the hallway when he was rolling in his scooter, and then that scene is very iconic because of just the movie is not scary. It's just the images are scary, and seeing the twins being axed and then just going back again with the kids, the kids saying forever and forever, and then Jack repeatedly say that when he say you're gonna like this, like I want to be in this place forever, forever. So it just shows that the hotel is like influencing Jack to the madness very quickly. Um, yeah, and then room 237, I believe, the spirits open the door for Danny to come in to room 237 so that they can set up Jack and like make Jack more angry and more mad so that he could go into this darker path. And yeah, and then of course the bar scene is very iconic. I mean, first off, Jeff, when you brought up the kids' expressions, I mean, Jack Nicholson's expressions are so iconic in this bar scene. I mean,
Oh, his, yeah.
you know, so I think Jack just sells it in such a horrific but also funny way, which is hilarious. But yeah, when he tells about his story about how he broke his son's arm, which is very dark, and I cannot believe that. And yeah, just seeing him, sitting alone in the bar, and like I totally forgot that after we cut out of the bar, and we did there was no like alcohol. I was like, oh wow, so he's really not there at all. And yeah, and the naked lady tub like haunting me for years. Like what the hell? Like I never expect from a movie. Like I think that's the most scariest things in my whole life. Like that's probably the most scariest moments in film horror history. Like I mean, it's crazy. And I felt very dirty. Just seeing that, I was like, oh, what? Who cares? And yeah, but and then to wrap up that sequence, you know, when he goes back to talk to Wendy, you know, um, of course, the spirits are putting this idea that Wendy is taking advantage of Jack and like he's telling things about Denny about him, like he's dangerous and all that. and like that's not like true at that moment, but like and so Jack gets very angry at Wendy for things that she hasn't done or not tell to Danny about, and so that's where he starts to get more and more paranoid throughout the film, and so I thought that that's really good setup towards what's going to happen to him. But yeah, overall great sequence. I mean, it just gets you into the mood of the film so brilliantly. Uh, I'm happy we can move on from this because I don't want to talk about the Room 237 at all. It haunts me every time, and I cannot believe I saw this again. I was like, oh my god, why I'd see this scene? So yeah.
Okay, dokie. Very well done, Andres. Thank you. All right, Sir Jeff. Same question, sir. Your thoughts on that sequence in the film?
One of the coolest mistakes of I think of the entire film. And I've never read the book. I haven't. Or if I did, it was a long, long time ago, like when I was a teenager, and I just don't remember probably, right? I read a lot of Stephen King, but it was all when I was a teenager. That was it. A long time ago. Some of it I can remember, some of it I can't. But either way, no, the whole deal where maybe if you read the book, I guess maybe you would know, but like watching the movie, again, they never explain how it is that these fucking spirits, whatever, that haunt the hotel and shit and are a part of like the structure, whatever, how it does develop power. It's all like one big almost entity, right? Right? That is like an umbrella. Right? It has these elements. I believe they are individual spirits. I believe they are.
Yeah.
They're not like projections of like one individual. They are like an orchestrated part of like the whole deal at the hotel, the haunting, right? On their own, they work together. Yes, independently. Independently, right? They have their own jobs, right? They've been doing what they've been doing for a long time, obviously, right? So clearly, like this has been going on for a minute. Like this is not new shit. We already know that. We have no idea. They never really tell you how deep this goes, how long this has really gone on, right? Like the cycle is repeated. Overall, they don't really give us the dates. I don't think. So at that point, we have no idea how many times this has happened, right? This could happen every fucking winter, right? Who knows? Like who would know? But either way, no, I've never seen any other film before where there's spirits like that are actually capable of either being like ethereal and like not almost translucent, where you can't touch them, and then other times you can, or they can touch things or like actually act in our real world and like actually affect things physically. That's very real. I've never seen that before. I think that sort of like back and forth dichotomy where sometimes they're visible to like some people, but not others. Sometimes they aren't touchable. They're not really like physically manifested where they can actually, I think, in that influence to that level. Then at times they can. It's very interesting. There's no consistency with it, and it's never explained. Right? It's very deep. You know what I'm saying? It makes you wonder, like, what the fuck, man? Like, what are they capable of? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they really? Like, I mean, if they are spirits, what kind? Like, to have that ability, that kind of power. It's one thing to be a spirit and just haunt people, but to be able to actually physically choke someone, that's intense, right? Usually, if you watch another horror movie, if they can do it, they do it all the time. They do all the time. That's all they do, right? Think M. Night Shyamalan, the Bruce Willis film that he did, one of his first ones.
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, right? Like that. No, Nicholson is outstanding. The way that he portrays the character, from what I understand, from the plot synopsis I read, right? What he's supposed to be in the book. The way he portrays it so well that he, authentically, right? That he is trying to recuperate. He wants to like do right by like to some extent, at least I think, by his family, his wife, Danny. He wants to try. He's still fucked up and like stalled and like not really like doing so hot. But at the point that he goes into the hotel, but he thinks it'll work out. He'll be able to finish his manuscript or whatever, all that shit. But I think that the hotel can tell when there's vulnerabilities there. The vulnerability is there, right? Well, it's inside someone to be able to be capable and influenced the way that he is. And they saw it in him. They were like, okay, he's a tool. And he's got Danny that they want for whatever reason, right?
Not in this version, just the book. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's different. Because I meant that's the difference between this, because in the book, Jack exploded the hotel in the book, and we see that in the sequel, Dr. Sleep.
Well, I just always assumed that, like, it's to some, whenever even watching it, even when I watched it earlier, that even in the movie they portray that there is a desire by this power in some way to want something to do with Danny, not hurt it. But either way, just scare him. No, I thought that, again, it's a part where you see they really show you the real progression and how things start to devolve and whatnot and everything. And it starts to really heat up.
Yeah.
Right. But not too much. It's not too much. It's not, it gives you space. It gave Kubrick space to work with, to keep on going. Right. So no, that was really good. I like that part. And the scenes inside the hotel are great. All of them, I think. Right. I think they're all now. I mean, just they're well shot. I like the way the hotel looks, the colors of it, and whatnot. Right. The vibe of it. The hallway scenes look good with the girls and all that and whatnot. They're very well shot. I think for that era. And the quality is really good. The video is very good. And I think that it's everything is very not overtly scary, but subtly, and yet very effectively. And that's really shows this real like talent, right, and ability to be able to make that happen. So that's all I can say. Really, just a great scenes. And again, the secondary characters that you can't remember their names sometimes at the end of the movie, but yet they're very pivotal.
Yeah. Great.
Excellent. Awesome, sir. Thank you. All right. So after that, after we basically continue on, we see Jack have another sequence where he ends up going to kind of the grand hall and ends up, it's like back in the 1940s or something like that, and there's like a giant thing going on, a soiree, the word, I can't think of, I can't think of the word, but anyways,
soiree.
Yeah, thank you. And so basically that, like, a shindig is going down in there, and he ends up bumping into it like a butler there. And so basically he ends up bumping into him, and he spills a drink on him, and he's like, "Oh, sir, let me take you in the bathroom to clean you up," and so he's like, "It's okay." So he follows him in there, and he ends up, they're having a conversation. He's like, "Haven't I seen you before?" And basically he ends up saying that he's the guy that killed himself and killed his family 10 years ago in 1970. And, basically the guy keeps denying it, and then basically eventually then he ends up, saying yes, and, basically they have like this weird kind of finishing off conversation where Jack kind of leaves like, "What the hell's going on here?" type of deal. So after that happens, we also see Jack go into the radio room, and he ends up taking out several of the plugs from the radio so that they can't use the radio. And after that happens, that's when we get that great sequence where Wendy pops over to where his typewriter is and is looking at what he's been typing, and all of a sudden she sees like all this stuff that says "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," and just over and over again, and she keeps like going through it and realizing there's something's going on that's not right here. So basically she ends up kind of confronting him about things, and that's when he like it starts to threaten her, and she knocks him out with a bat. And so then she drags him into and puts him into the refrigerator, locks him in there. And so then she kind of like frantically runs away and stuff, and like is trying to find Danny and figure out what to do next. And so then we go back to to Jack while he's in there, and all of a sudden he starts hearing voices, and he has basically this full-on conversation with who knows what, some sort of ghost or entity of some sort, but is pretending to be the owner of the lodge. And basically, the lodge keeps, this person keeps saying, yeah, you need to take care of this. You need to take care of this. And basically igniting Jack more into, basically killing his family. So after he has that conversation, we go back to Wendy and Danny. And basically we end up, finding out that somehow Jack is freed by the ghost of Grady. And he ends up having an axe and starts going after them. And so as he's like pounding down on the doors with the axe, we get that really great action sequence where he's like chopping down the one door at the entrance and stuff like that. And he's like keeps knocking and stuff like that. And then he ends up getting to the second door that's in the bathroom. And basically Wendy is trying to get Danny out the window. They're trying to escape. And
that's the voices of Grady, the previous caretaker.
Oh yeah, Grady. Yeah, no, it's in the bartender.
Yeah, no. The
bartender's somebody different.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah. Anyway, go. Sorry.
So anyway, she's trying to figure. She opens the window and like shoves Danny out to the outside, and then she tries to get out but realizes it's too small, she can't get out, so then she goes back in with the knife, and he's still chopping at the door, and that's when he does the most his iconic scene, put his head through the door after he's accident, going, "Here's Johnny," and one of the most iconic sayings in movie history that everyone of course repeats at some time in their life. And he, basically he tries to keep breaking through and stuff like that, and she ends up able to like knocking him out of the way and running out. And so basically then she runs up outside, meets back up with Danny, and they start going to make their way somewhere. And basically if I remember correctly, she. Let's see.
She encounters some of the ghosts. Like,
be quiet. Let me see where I am, sir.
All right. Let me know you want me to type.
Okay.
Give Cyber his space, there, brother. Come on now.
That's true.
Don't come on. Don't be invading his personal space.
True.
Of course, during this time too, that's when it goes back and forth with Scatman Crothers too, that character, and he's like messaging the police people to check on them out there because he hasn't heard from them and stuff like that too, and he ends up getting into the foray there eventually at some point, and like I said, that's when Danny escapes outside, of course, like through the window I said, and that's when Wendy fights up Jack with a knife. And then Halloran has flown into Colorado from his Florida vacation, and he telepathically, Danny has set a SOS, and so he makes his way to the hotel. And basically, that's when, while Danny's outside and the wonderful Wendy is making her way through the hotel, that's when Jack starts to move his way outside and starts chasing Danny through the maze. And during that point, at some point, that's when Scatman Crothers pops up, and he kills him with the axe. And basically, you see it. It's like a really epic murder sequence in Scatman's trying, stuff like that, which was really cool. And I thought that they did that really, really well. And so then, as after after that happens, and he's chasing Danny through the thing, he's still looking for him and stuff like that. And that's when she runs to the hotel looking for Danny, encountering the hotel's ghost, and she has the vision of cascading blood similar to the same thing Danny saw in his premonition earlier in the film. That's when Danny misleads Jack and hides behind the snowdrift while Jack follows a false trail. Then that's when Danny and Wendy basically reunite at the Snowcat, and they get in the Snowcat and make their way out. Then that's when it goes back to, and it shows Jack frozen the next day, and he's like doing his thing, which was absolutely freaking hilarious. And I thought that they did a really good job doing that, and Jack Nicholson just looked hilarious. And then the movie basically ends with a photograph of the hotel hallway. Jack is pictured standing in the midst of the crowd, which is from 1921, and that's how the film ends. So, what were your guys' thoughts on the last portion of this film? What did you like about it? What did you hate about it? What did you enjoy? Just anything you'd like to talk about this end sequence. Starting with you, Andreas.
Sure. Well, first up, here's Andreas. Okay, I'm here. So you're lucky I don't have an ask to jump with the air in this space. But yeah, this is everyone's favorite, sequence of the film. I mean, just Jack going crazy finally, and it was worth the wait, because I think Jack Nicholson does such a good job of showing the insanity of Jack and his killer instincts. For this, I want to bring up a couple things, like the ghosts, particularly Grady. Grady, Jake Hackman, right? He's still that Gene Hackman in that picture, really, Jeff.
It's a joke. It's an accident.
Oh my god, that is so ridiculous. Red Rum. Oh, that's the thing. Danny starts. Tony starts to take over Danny, and so like Tony, like it's like, alerting Wendy, the mom, about the murder, because we saw Red Drum, and if you don't know what the kid was saying, it's kind of funny, and I love the reveal. It's spelled upside down and it say murder when Wendy sees it in the mirror. That was such a cool shot. So yeah, great way to scare me and say they're in danger. And that's when Jack starts to oh my god, red drama. Oh my god. So Jack chopping out the wood. So the ghosts, are pursuing Jack. So I mentioned how in the book versus this movie, the hotel wants Danny and his abilities in the book. Now here, in rewatch, the ghost knows that Danny is like calling out for the cook, and so the ghosts are trying to get Jack to stop his son to do send out that SOS, and then at the same time convincing Jack to start killing his family soon, just like the Grady family 10 years ago in the film in 1970. So that was really great, and the bathroom scene is iconic. I mean, all red, which again foreshadows blood, so that's really cool. And of course, Wendy seeing the typewrite papers of all Jack is dull boy. It's so iconic. It's so scary, and that's where Jack's really let loose, and that's really incredible. But also he's funny in that scene when he starts, when you say, oh my, I don't know, he starts laying loose. Then after that, and then when he's in the freezer, Grady helps Jack to be out of the freezer by finally killing the family. So at that point, he starts to kill them, starts to hunt them and kill them, and so that's what we see. And then of course we get into the the iconic "Here's Johnny" scene. Of course him getting through the the family room, and it's really great. I don't know if you guys know this, but in the book he was supposed to say boo, like boo, and so this line "Here's Johnny" was improvised from Jack, because this was from the talk show, the Johnny Carson show, and so because Johnny, I think he said there he's Johnny. So that was really cool. A great improvised line from Jack, and that has become an iconic line throughout the history. I don't know. You guys have a favorite from the mediums that have used Here's Johnny, but a cartoon show I used to watch, Hey Arnold. Uh, his grandpa did a Shiny homage, and because his car got stolen, and then he was trying to open the door, and then after he finally opened the door, he say, "Here's Grandpa," and that was a funny line. But yeah, then after that, we haven't discussed too much about Wendy here. Like we brought up Shelley Duvall. I think she's a great actress. I think this was a good depiction of the character. Like she's very strong. I think she handles herself with the threat that Jack is becoming, and so like she helps Danny escape, and so she's very much a smart person. Because a lot of people are so down on this character's version of Shelley's version of Wendy. So I think this Wendy is a good character in this movie, but the performance of Shelley Duvall. Yeah, and then of course Scatman, the cook getting killed was a big shock. That's different from the book as well. Like he actually survives from the book. This is a change from the movie. Like the movie actually made the character die in this version. So just want to make that very clear. And yeah, so I love the sequence. It's one of my favorite of this movie.
What did you think about Scatman Crothers? Just to kind of to flesh out his character a little bit more too. What did you think about his whole character throughout the film?
He was like I think besides Jack and Danny and then the wife, like he's another crucial and iconic character. I think he helps the audience like to understand what's going on, and like and then and the most important thing. Oh, please no, not the twins. I hate to say it like help. I say Danny to understand what's going on in the hotel. Well, there's one nitpick because you brought up like with any nitpicks. I have one nitpick I brought up in the chat. Like if he's a shiny, does he know that the hotel is haunted? That's one of the things I'm kind of like confused. Like, do you think the hotel knows that this person is a shiny? Why they don't go after him or like try to use him? You know, I mean, I don't know how, like,
I think that would have been too much to add to the story.
No, okay, that makes sense. And I know he's older. Maybe he can hide his powers easier than Danny, because Danny's a boy. He doesn't know how to control his powers. So, anyway, that was one part. It always bugs me. Like, how does the hotel doesn't know he's another shiny like Danny? But yeah, and then I don't know. Should we brought up the bear? Cheryl. Wendy seeing the bear performing. Uh, the Oreo sex on the butler scene, which is also creepy and iconic. But yeah, that one also creeped me out. But yeah. But yeah, Scatman is a great performer. I actually like him. I hated that he got killed. I really wish he survived. I thought he was a really great superhero character that really cared about Danny, and so it was really sad that he got killed. And yeah, I think his kill was a great, like, kill scene with the axe, which is brutal. Oh my god, he screamed because they intercut the scream with Danny screaming too, because he kind of does Xavier, like he was connected to with Scatman's character and telepathically, so that was a really cool way to interconnect that. So, but yeah, he's a great character. I wish he survived, but I mean, he survived in the book. Here, this is different. They kill him off in this movie for some reason.
Excellent. All right. So before we ask Jeff the same question, for you out there in the great streaming land, we're going to show you the trailer for you guys to get you guys to see what we've been talking about. So, Jeff, when you have that ready, please play it, sir.
Excellent. No problem.
Then he wins 3 medals at the Special Olympics.
Did you know about that?
Nope. Is this for the actor? I think. I mean, so. Ay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Shining. Review about The Shining.
No, ladies and gentlemen, this is called Bleeding Edge style, baby. What's up?
Oh God.
What's good? If you can't handle it, then go cry.
I don't think don't cry. I think you just say, go home and sleep.
Go cry in the closet. We're not as scary as The Shining. I promise. All right, now this is my trailer first, just in case Andres is fucked up or something.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? Well, a man named Charles Grady is the winter caretaker. And he came up here with his wife and 2 little girls, I think about 8 and 10. From what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
You can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
Yeah, he does. That's the funny part. He actually does.
Mom? Yeah?
What happened with me, Charlie? I'll be okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty lots of fun.
Name's Jack Torrance.
Yeah, I guess so.
To some people, solitude and isolation can of itself become a problem.
Jack Nicholson was 42 here.
Oh, really? He looks so young. Yeah, he knows this part. He was dreaming.
Here's Johnny!
Here's Johnny!
Oh yeah, that's a great. I love it. That's very good. Great music, very eerie.
Great trailer. Great
very
trailer.
Eerie,
Yeah.
very eerie. All right, let's do Andres.
Yeah,
Got
so
one, too.
yeah,
Hold on.
this one is from the Stanley Kubrick channel.
Okay,
So-
great.
Yeah.
Well, it's not from Jar Jar Binks' channel.
So, God no.
Hey, don't be dissing my dude.
What, Jar Jar?
Come on,
That's
Cyber.
right.
Cyber, you know I love Jar Jar.
Jar Jar's the man.
Jar Jar's the fucking
Yeah.
man, bro. Dude, in Mandalorian season 3, what's his name that played Jar Jar was the man. As that Jedi in that one episode, he was dope.
Yep.
Oh God. We see the bear.
Guys, one thing, I was talking to a creator last night. I told you, Cyber Mike, about Star Wars. He was telling me about Star Trek, and the last season of Picard. They brought Geordi back and Data, bro.
They did?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I already knew that.
I didn't know that.
Told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? I heard a man named Charles Grady is the winter caretaker. From what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
That's right.
Mom, do you really want to go and live in that hotel for the winter? Sure I do. It'll be lots of fun.
Oh, thing that can get a bit trying up here during the winter is a tremendous sense of isolation.
No.
Is there something bad here?
I fear you will have to deal with this matter in the harshest possible way.
What do you do?
There's your facial expression, Jeff.
That's right.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna
Bash your head out.
Ugh, woman.
Here's Johnny.
You do realize that was fake, Andreas.
I know,
Hi,
but still, it hunts me.
Nah, man. Movies are real.
Yeah.
You know.
Alright, folks. So, there was a couple trailers for you guys, getting you in that shining mood. Definitely go watch it now, people. Oh, yeah. Alright, so, Jeff. Same question, sir. Your thoughts on the conclusion of this film?
That those fucking two little girls are fucking scary as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, dude. When I saw that, I know one thing. When I saw that shit when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old or whatever, whatnot, that shit scared the fuck out of me, bro. Those hallway scenes with that man really fucked me up, dude. That shit scared me more than the chick fucking getting all crazy looking and old and shit. They did. It was so creepy as fuck. The music and everything and whatnot, and then just sitting there then talking and whatnot. They could talk. Fuck, man. Very interesting movie, man. I mean, honestly, you know, just to mix in a little bit of like an overall scope along with it, just really well put together. You know, regardless of whatever, you know, maybe a little bit. Nothing's perfect, right? No movie's perfect. There's always going to be little bits and pieces you could always kind of say that they could have done differently or whatever. I mean, who knows? Maybe I wouldn't know this. I never looked it up, but maybe there's people who like have a problem with some of it because they love the book more or something. You know what I mean? And whatnot. They don't think that it was true enough to it or something like that. I don't know. But either way, I'm sure there's somebody that doesn't like it. But either way, it's a great movie. I don't know if it won any Oscars or not. I don't think it did.
It wasn't nominated for any.
No. No.
Nominated for Razzies, though.
Razzies, yes, which is great. Always going to rate you the Razzie. But I don't think Shelley Duvall deserved one. At all.
No, they retracted it last year.
Yeah,
too. They retracted it last year after all the backlash.
She did a great fucking job in the movie, I thought. I mean, I don't see what she did wrong, personally. Unless they're trying to say that she's not effective at, like, acting, like, terrified or something or whatever, you know? I thought she was convincing. But either way, no. Essentially, I think that, again, everything's very balanced. Nothing ever gets too overextended or overinflated. It's always kind of like, almost, I don't want to say perfection, but it's always the balance and the shift and the evolution of the film as it kind of descends and then also escalates sort of and then kind of descends again at times, like either psychologically or like with action, right? Because there's both of it. You know what I'm saying? There are ups and downs throughout it, whatnot, right? Of different types. But they're not overt, right? They're subtle, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's really just a good term that overarchingly you could use in a lot of the really great aspects of the film. They're very subtle. They're not overtly done. They're not like right in your face. They give there's mystique to that, right, Cyber? Like you said, there's mystique, there's mystery. There's a lot there for you to like as in the audience to make your own opinion on things. You know, oh, like maybe I think this is why this is happening. Another person might think differently. That's really good. That's cool to me. That shows. Not only like ability and talent as far as like, directing and putting together, sequencing a film and handling your actors and your actresses and whatnot and how, shoot it and whatnot. But on top of it, your ability to create horror and do something that's scary, but do it in not only like a deep way and like sort of a meta intellectual way, also at the same time scare you visually. And haunt you with like images and sound and the score and the shots. Yet then at the same time, also then give you something in the audience where you also have things that are so scary yet so deep that other people would have different opinions on them, right? That could all be very, very well valid. We don't fucking know. That's awesome. That is really, really talent. That is like multi-layered talent, right? To be able to do all those different things in one film, rare to do. Rare to be able to pull off all that. I think those are the elements, that type of dynamic. Maybe not articulated, maybe not well enough. Could have done better with wording it, but for me, I feel like that's the universal appeal for The Shining, is the fact that it's so just like, so at times quiet and sort of lulled, yet at the same time eerie, and yet at the same time it could also just like then 10 minutes later suddenly, and also kind of like in a soft, in a silent way, throw some really sick shit at you that'll scare the fuck out of you, right? And Kubrick did a great job with that. He really did. Would you say the movie? How long was the movie? Cyber, a little bit over 2 hours. 2 hours 23.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, for him to be able to do what he did in that time, that's really great. Seriously, I don't know if many actors nowadays would be able to pull off the scope of a film of this scope, right? With a story that big in that short period of time. I think it'd have to be 3 hours long. I do. To flush the characters out and whatnot, you know. So, without Jack Nicholson, it doesn't work. At the end of the day, bottom line, and he demonstrates that at the end, right? He really does. He really pulls it off. I don't know where you would rate this. I've never watched all of his films. It's got to be in his top 5, as far as like his performances and whatnot and everything, right? I'd have to believe, and especially with him being the driving force of the film. A lot of his really good films, there are other solid secondary characters, or there are like co-stars that are big names. This one, all the secondary characters are solid. They're good at what they do, but they're not known they're not known actors. I don't know any of those people from other movies, right? I don't. So at that point, they're very effective though. And that fucking guy, the cook, man, he's creepy, dude. Andres, that's the vibe he gets. He's creepy, dude. I find it creepy. I do. Like I can't. In the movie, I can't figure. I was saying earlier to my friend, like Michelle, who may be coming on the show soon and doing some reviews with us, Cyber. A real life friend of mine for the first time. Can't wait. No, she, that like, he just makes me feel like weird, like eerie, like you can't tell what his intentions are or what he's trying to accomplish. Right? He's sort of like, just makes me feel like gives me the creeps a little bit. But no, really great finale. Really great how I felt like Kubrick really did a great job of delivering the ending explosively, saved the explosiveness for the ending, and then did that effectively too, right? In a cohesive way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way that wasn't like, again, it all flowed for me. Overall, great film. Just great film overall. And like you saw, Andres, the trope of like the axe, right? That being like a fixture, right? Of like, something that's been used for for murdering the same thing before.
Yeah.
That's really great, man. Really cool. For them to put that in there. It really is. And that maze, man, holy shit. I was so scared to be in there at night in the dark. Oh man, that would scare the shit out of me, dude. To be lost in there. I would not like that at all. Not like that at all. So big. Oh man. That would not be fun. I know you'd be totally calm and cool, Cyber and Andre, but I'd be pissed at myself. I would. But or I'd be like Danny.
Well, I mean, Danny's smart. I mean, I like how he just tricked his dad.
Yeah. No, most definitely. No, Danny is smart. That's the whole thing. He is smart. He's a child, but he's very intelligent.
Yep.
No, but it's just really well done, and I believe that. I think Shelley Duvall pulls off the whatever Kubrick did with her to scare the shit out of her. I don't know what he did. Like I don't know if he like used like shit that would pop up at her or whatever, not or something. Whatever you do that scared her, it worked. Because for me, I think she looks like how someone should look when they're that fucking afraid. At the end, there, I really do. When you're just like so afraid that and you feel so alone, and like no one can help you, and you're on your own. And like she pulls it off. This pure desperation, right? And it's dope that like Danny ends up being the one to handle his business. So, and that shot of Jack frozen, fucking classic, baby. Classic. Right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby. Frosty the Snowman, bruh. But anyways, yeah, man. Hey, it's definitely a 3.75 for me. No, I'm just joking.
Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. All right. So, give your actual ranking, and then we'll go to you, Andreas, for your ranking, and I'll give mine. What is your actual ranking, Jeff?
For once, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10.
Oh.
Holy shit.
The
You
movie
heard it
deserves-
here. You heard it here
Brother.
live, people. A 10. A 10.
Listen, besides that stupid fucking Charlie's Angels reboot that they did a couple years ago with that asshole chick, I can't think of another film that deserves a 10.
You think the Charlie's Angel film that came out 2 years ago is a 10?
Yeah. Yeah, the one with the chick that literally said that since we've been supporting you men or not in your male films and whatnot and everything, you have to fucking go watch ours. Yeah, that one. Or else you're a piece of garbage.
Okay. I think
Well, it's nice knowing you. This is the end of the bleeding edge.
What? What? What did I say wrong? I mean, it's the truth. That's what she said. She's like, since we've been supporting you male actors, whatnot, you male films, whatnot, you better go support ours, or else you're a piece of garbage.
It's not that. It was the 10 you gave the movie is what I'm talking about.
Oh, you think YouTube's gonna give us a fucking like what is it called? Not a check mark. Fuck.
No, I'm not worried about that. It's just you giving that movie a 10.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Honestly, brother, it might cause controversy.
It is already caused controversy right now with me. No, I'm just joking. Anyways, I've never seen the movie. I could care less about it. It looks stupid as fuck. But anyways, Andres, what is your rating, sir?
Ooh, this is tough. Yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It's a great film. I mean, come on. Stanley Kubrick, you're a big Kubrick fan like me? It's a 10 out of 10. It's 4 for me as a Kubrick film. After 2001, Doctor Strange, Love, and The Clockwork Orange is my favorite Kubrick film. But The Shining is just amazing film. Go ahead, watch it. It's a great horror film as well. So it's 10 out of 10 for me.
Excellent. Well, folks, for the first time on the Bleeding Edge, all 3 10s for this movie. Holy shit balls. I give it a 10 too, a very solid 10 because it is a really great film. It gets a 10 alone for me though, from the awesome acting really of the entire cast. I mean, Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Daniel Lloyd all did an amazing job. And even if just one of them was good, I would still give it a 10 because any of these high caliber actresses were just are amazing in my opinion. I think Shelley Duvall is a very undervalued actress that doesn't get enough credit for how fun she is. Her Olive Oil, her character in Suburban Commando, she is a fantastic actress. Absolutely love her. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me too as well. So wow, giant 10 all around, people. So yeah, if you have not seen The Shining, people, definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. Great Stanley Kubrick film and just a really great psychological horror thriller film as well. So definitely check it out.
Hey, if I don't mind me saying to Cyber, I think it's great that you guys said that. It really is. I never thought about that, but like we should be telling people like, yo, you should watch this film. Like seriously, like don't just watch the review, but like go watch this shit. This is good. It's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody paid us to drop those 10s, baby.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. Not at all. All right, folks. So that is the end of our review. So we'll do our plugs and then get the hell out of here. Take it away, Jeff.
Okay. Hold
with
on.
your 10 Charlie's Angel.
Let me go ahead and find Andres really quick and whatnot and everything.
I think it should be there. I sent you the link.
Oh, you sent me the link? All right. Well, you know what? I'm glad you did that, Andres, because I keep forgetting.
It's up. It's go up to the chat, private chat, and it's up there.
Oh, it'd be there? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And if you see Here You Go, Jeff, that's the link for my channel.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Geographically.
First go to the top. If not, I'll just send the link now.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Cool. Yeah. So
It took me to actually like a gay porn thing. Oh, okay. No, it's all right. I got it.
okay.
I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just joking, man.
I,
I'm
I,
messing with you.
yeah, sure thing. So yeah, just very quickly, I'm speechless. So I just already post my last video for this week, Fast and Furious, GIF's video tribute, because the next new movie for Fast 10 is coming out next Friday, which is great. I'm probably going to see it maybe in London, or I'll probably see it when I come back. So yeah, just yeah. I'm going to vacation, everyone. So I'll be going with my mom to London and enjoy a vacation finally. So, after a rough 2023 for us. But anyway, so please hit that subscribe button and like button and check out all the videos I just created. It'll be very beneficial, to grow my channel and brand. And I don't know what Jeff did in the chat. Okay, all right.
Don't look, Andres. You might laugh a lot.
I just saw what you did. Oh my god. No, please. I'm too old for this. Anyway.
Yo, shut up, Andres. You know it's funny.
Yeah. Sure thing. I thought the Kylie the South director from Eternals was funny, but that's it. Yeah, so that's my channel, and I'm up to 755 subscribers. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah! Hey, you're almost catching up to the amount of chicks that you've banged in like the last 70 years.
Yeah, 7 decades, guys. 70,
Yep. There you go.
770 women. So my lucky day.
Well, when you synchronize that, brother, I will make a thumbnail like that for you, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, before I pull up Cyberneticshark, the only plugging I want to do myself personally, since I don't make any individual content besides the the content I make where I basically just sometimes make like how-to videos as far as like how to work your Bacta tank and whatnot and everything and all that, so that you can use it the most effective way to get rid of like chlamydia or something, right? After Boba hooked me up on Tatooine. Thank you, Boba. Appreciate you, bro. I don't want to. I'm not looking for a season 2 though, man. Please, but no. Anyways, though, I want to just hats off and just shout out to Andres very much. I bust his balls, but we love him. He's been nothing but a straight up soldier and shit for us and whatnot and everything, holding it down on the panel and whatnot, baby. Andres, we fucking love you, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. I was so happy we did the shiny. That was my dream. My dream came true this year.
Well, I'm sure you would really be happy, and you would enjoy doing the shiny that I talked about earlier too every day, like I do. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cyber, I apologize, sir. I digress.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine, sir.
All right. That's not what the chick at the grocery store told me earlier tonight. She actually offered me a plastic bag. I was like, no, I don't need a plastic bag. She was like, no, it's for your head. She's like, I think it might improve your Tinder profile.
Sure it wasn't a paper bag?
No, I actually said that when I was with my friend Michelle to the chick at the thing. She's like, do you want a plastic bag? I'm like, yeah, no, but I mean, maybe I might need one later. It might increase my attractiveness. She liked this. That was funny. I wanted to say, yeah, I'm going to put one on this chick with me right now later on, but I didn't do it. There you go. There's Cyber's channel. Right? Isn't there so? It's somewhere at the fucking grid. It's in there somewhere. I don't know where, man.
You had it, and then you forced forward or something.
I got to look for it. Hold on, it's in there. It's I gotta find the latitude and longitude.
Technical difficulties, folks out there in the great land of streaming.
Yeah.
We were showing you where we were going to go for our next streaming live, in some crazy desert of somewhere, and do it live from the desert or something,
Well, no, actually, Cyber, you should mention, along with doing your plugs, you should mention where we're actually going to be when we do our next Friday show.
Yes, sir. If you get to that.
Hold on. I want to make sure I get a really good beauty shot for the end of the show here. Right?
There we go.
All right.
Come on, I'm not selfish. Oh, Dodger, shut up, man. Seriously. Come on, bruh. Be easy, bruh.
There we go.
Be easy, bruh.
So as always, folks out there in the great land of streaming, if you enjoy me as a moderator, enjoy me on the panel, you can check out my solo content underneath Cyberneticshark there, as you can see. And my most recent review, Guardians Galaxy, went up today, Volume 3, so definitely go check that out. I am currently at 649, closing in there. I'm getting up there, guys. So like I said, I always want to thank all the new subscribers, all the people that are subscribing. You guys are rocking. But if you don't forget to hit that subscribe button when you go check out the channel, most definitely do that. And as like Jeff said, where will we be next week? Well, next week, next Friday, we'll be doing our next review live together, folks. We'll be doing it live together. That's right, because I'll be down in the sunny state of Florida, and we will be rocking out at Rockville and be actually in person together doing a review for you guys. So keep your eyes out for that awesomeness. But yeah, as you can see there, I did a couple recent reviews there, mini reviews on the Coming to America films, which are fantastic. Definitely check those out. And yeah, people, next week is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Me and Mr. Jeff will meet in person for the first time, too. So that's going to be a blast.
That's right. And we're going to do a review of how fucking drunk and fucked up I'm going to get at Rockville. We all fucked up. We'll do a review on that. And we can do a rating on it, too.
So,
definitely.
What's up, Andres?
I want to say it's great that you reviewed the Brady Bunch movies. I love those in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. That sounds very exciting.
Yeah. Sequel is great.
Andres,
good shit.
Andres, we're thinking about eventually reviewing porn. You want to get down on that? You want to get on that, baby?
No, I think
No?
it'd be good to review The Shining again. And
Well,
then
listen, I
maybe-
think for inclusivity purposes, we should involve porn, right? You know, what's more inclusive than porn?
Well, we can review a horror movie that's about that. And
Hey,
it's horror.
there's porn movies out there that are almost as good as The Shining, baby.
Yeah. X. I'm talking about X. I think that'd be a good way to review.
Anyways,
Anyway.
Andres, I know you're too good of a man, too much of a gentleman for things like that, brother.
Yeah. For 80 years now or 70 years, whatnot.
Yep, that's okay. You know, not everybody's capable of being a savage motherfucker like me. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
No.
And shout out to Shelley Duvall for that shot behind you, Cyber. That shit's dope. I love it.
Poster. It's a poster.
What about me? I got the cool one, the shiny.
She's like,
sucks.
She's like, shoot here, baby. I gotcha.
Yeah, excuse me. This is the OG shiny poster that was used back in the day.
That was her reaction to the Shining Eye experience, personally.
No.
With the flashlight, right? Yeah.
True.
Sure.
True.
She saw that, and that was her reaction.
Mhm.
All right, folks. So that is it for the show. We will see you next week as usual. What do you have coming up on Sunday, Jeff?
Woo! The first part of our Mandalorian Season 3 recap and breakdown, baby. It should be an absolute fucking blast. I cannot wait. But you know what, baby? As we always say here at the Bleeding Edge.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
So there you go. It's that simple.
Yep.
That is our motto. That is our creed, baby. We don't need no Creed 4. We need that Creed.
And of course, next Wednesday we will be back to DC animated for you guys. We'll be doing the next one, Batman, Superman, Public Enemies. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, Andres is pissed. You see his face? He's mad. He's not happy.
What are you talking
He's
about?
pissed. He's jealous. He's pissed. He's like,
What?
fuck.
Excuse me, I did The Shining, so I'm happy to do that.
All right, brother. We're going to miss you.
No, wait, there's other DC ammunition films to discuss, so it's not like a big deal.
Well, yo, let's get the fuck out of here. Maybe I want to smoke a cigarette. Let's do this
All
shit.
right, let's go.
Come on,
Come on, let's
I'm
go.
old fashioned. We're trying to bring back smoking over here. What's up?
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Ready
Let's
to
do it.
leave.
The hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yep. Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
Catch her outside means she'll go outside and do what she has to do. That's what she's talking about.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah,
is
okay,
all.
yeah.
This is all. But